Welcome back to Kicking It with Kenya. So, usually we talk about things that are hot on the timelines, things that are popping, and sometimes we talk about things that are a little bit on the serious side. I might lose fans, I might not lose fans. Either way, you're tuning into a real life conversation that me and Louis often have. So this sparked my brain because on Insecure, and this is what we talked about, giving a little background story. Insecure ended. The big bomb was that, and if you haven't watched Insecure at this point, whatever. Insecure started with the big bomb of like Condola telling Lawrence, like, as we know, Lawrence and Condola broke up. Condola came and Lawrence moved on back with Issa. And then Condola came back to basically tell Lawrence, I guess after a month or so of them breaking up, that she's pregnant. And this sparked a lot that I saw on the timeline about like, oh, Condola knew what she was doing. Lauren, like she should get an abortion, or I even saw some people saying, I hope that we don't get another repeat of the game and she just has a miscarriage or something and get out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because she basically told Lawrence that she's pregnant, and at this moment, Lawrence done like moved on. Like he moved on. He's about to move. Got a good job. He did want that. He wanted everything with Condola, but she basically wasn't ready for none of it. And now, like, she came in talking about, you could be in as much as you want to be. I'm not holding you to be a father, basically giving the spiel, the line. So it's like, that's basically the debate on like, so it kind of had me wondering, like, do men have a choice in those situations? And what I mean by choice is like when she sat there and said, you could be as involved as you want to be. I'm not looking for you to do anything. So that's statement number one. And then when she also said, abortion's not an option. When he asked her, like, oh, are you sure? And she's like, abortion's not an option. So basically, looking at the timeline, thinking about that episode, it's like, it kind of had me wondering, because I'm always one of those people that poke at touchy situations. At what point do men, I don't even know if I'm phrasing it right, at what point do men have a say, and at what point do it stop no longer being a man's say?
As far as an abortion?
Both. Like, as far as, like, when she's like, so let's go with abortion. As far as an abortion, does a man have a right to say they're not ready for a kid?
I think a man has the right to say or feel he's not ready for a kid, but I feel like if you go up in a woman and that woman gets pregnant and that woman decides to keep it, as a man, it's your obligation to step up to the plate. It's your responsibility to step up to the plate and take care of this kid that you helped make, in my personal opinion. If I don't see myself having kids, but if I ever were to have a kid or get a girl pregnant, I'm not going to just leave her in the cold and say, oh yeah, she says I don't got to take care of my... No. If I bring a kid into this world, then I'm going to step up and be the best father I possibly can be to this kid who did not ask to get brought into this world. I'm going to, whether I'm ready or not, because I truly believe, like, are you ever really ready to be a parent? You know what I'm saying? Like, It's like...
Probably not.
Like, I would never speak on what it's like to be one because I'm not one. But I believe that if I were to be in that situation, I would do all I can to make sure I can give this kid the best life he can possibly have and be the best father I possibly can be. Now, I don't want to be a father.
So you make that no, I don't want to be a dad.
I don't. So if I choose to engage in sexual intercourse with a woman, I have to be cognizant of the fact that something could happen and I could become a father. No
Even
matter how much protection you want to talk, the pill, whatever. Listen, it's like driving. Every time I drive the car, I'm conscious of the fact that I could crash it. It may not even be my fault. Someone could hit me. The tire could come. Every time I get behind the wheel of a car, there's a chance I could crash it. There's a chance I may not come back. And I take that responsibility every time I do that. It's the same thing when it comes to anything in life. You choose to do something, you understand the risks that come with it. So if you choose to have sex with a girl and you have a kid, and this girl wants to keep, it's her body. This girl wants to keep this kid.
But see, like, all right, so devil's advocate. Once again, I like doing devil advocacy, right? The same way you're saying, right? You know the risk. You know the risk. So this is why with me personally, I have certain conversations with guys before we even engage in these type of affairs, because I need to know what kind of man I'm dealing with here. Like, you know, like, so usually, for the most part, because sometimes, you know, things happen quick. But for the most part, I'd be asked questions about, like, hey, so do you see yourself having a family? You know, things like that, just to understand who I'm dealing with here. Now, I actually went on a date with a guy who told me straight out, I don't want kids. He was not changing his mind on that. I don't want kids. I don't want kids. He said that not so many times. He wasn't rude. He was a very nice guy. But he just said, like, if you want kids, he said, I'm telling you this now because you might want to, like, go and find somebody else, because I truly don't want kids. I just want a partner in life. I want a wife. He knows he want a wife, but he's like, I'm much the uncle type. Like, I could babysit kids all day. He's like, but I want to give them away. So the same way you're saying that, like, men should know the risk. As a woman, though, now at this moment, we're not talking about insecure. I'm just saying in general. As a woman, if I engage further with this man and I already know he's dead set on not having children, we use protection. One day condom breaks. I'm pregnant. Is his feelings, is there not supposed to be consideration for that? Like, that was a risk I'm taking now, right? Like, sure. Because he did tell me he don't want this child. He don't want that. And oftentimes we know some men aren't ready for no kids. So it's like, the same way as a man, he has to take the risk. As a woman, I'm taking the risk. So because I carried a baby, do I outweigh that? Or do I take into consideration what he tells me?
I think, and I'm not a woman, so I will never go through this. I think that if you're in a partnership, you're in a relationship with someone, I do think that both sides should be considered. And I think the man being mature enough to tell you this outright should be considered as well. But then it comes into the point where, like, I've seen girls that get pregnant and their feelings towards kids or having a baby totally changes when they find out they're pregnant. When they find out there's life growing inside them, they feel life growing inside them, and the risks of getting that aborted, the possibility that you may not ever have kids
again.
It's your body again. And ultimately, I do feel both sides should be weighed, but at the end of the day, the last say-so is the person whose body is going to have to go through that. That's just, in my personal opinion, that is what it is. It's like if you own a business, everyone's opinion should be considered, but there's one person that's going to ultimately give that green light. The head cheese is going to give that green light.
Head cheese?
You know what I'm saying? Like, period, point blank. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. It's like, as a wrestling fan, like there's a board of creative ideas, but whatever touches TV, Vince McMahon has to okay. Period, point blank. If he doesn't okay it, it's not touching TV. And I feel like in that type of situation, there's only one foolproof way to never have a kid.
Oh, goodness.
And as much as people don't want to hear this, this is facts. Fucking is not essential to you living. It's essential to the human race, yes. But you as a person, it's not essential. It's pleasurable. You know what I mean? It's me saying, me going out to work or whatever, and driving places, things like that. I need to get places. I need to make money. I need to go work. So I have to go drive. I weigh that risk. Fucking is not something you have to do. It's something you want to do. Period. So if you want to do that, understand there could be a small percentage that no matter how much safety you take, the ultimate thing you don't want may happen. And if it does, and you end up a father, you have to be able to deal with that. If you do not want to be a father, do not fuck. It's that simple.
Oh,
if you end up, not every situation is like that. Sometimes you do end up where it's just like you can, take all the safety precautions you need to take, and then you end up, nothing happens and you live a happy life. But again, these are the risks that you weigh. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love going to an amusement park. I love getting on roller coasters. There's a chance I could die from getting on one. There's a chance it may snap. I take that chance because I like the pleasure of a fucking roller coaster. I don't have to do it. I like to do it. That's the same thing to me. So, in my personal opinion, yes, both sides should be considered, but ultimately it comes down to the woman because she's the one that has to go through this operation. Okay. She's the one that's going to have to deal with that.
So then, and the funny thing is, I like that we're arguing. Like it's kind of sounding like I'm not arguing, but it kind of sounding like I'm playing devil's advocate for like men, and like I get like you're kind of like more on like the woman side of things like that. I just like pushing buttons. Mm-hmm. But also, all right, let's just say you have the baby, right? The other point was Condola said you could be as much as involved as you want to be. I got the majority. So when I saw that trending all over the timelines, I saw men be like, yeah, girls be saying that. The next thing you know, they call you a deadbeat. Then I saw another thing that said, yeah, like I told her up front I didn't want a kid, blah, blah, blah. So now let's go into that, right? So if the man is saying, like, because like even when she said, I don't want to stress you out, this is very stressful because he's straight up telling you, like, I don't want this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to trap you, but you kind of are. Like, because I don't want this. And now you're like, so with all of those warning signs, because as a woman too, if I know I want kids, like even with him, I'm undecided with kids. Do I have a hard deadline or I don't want them, but I don't want to take away my possibility. So obviously I didn't date that man further. But it's just like, when it comes down to that situation of a woman saying you could be as involved as you want to be, and let's just say he chooses don't want to be involved, would you consider this man a deadbeat father? Like, because I don't want to be involved because I did not want kids, and I told you this 1,000 times, I did not want kids.
I don't think the kid should suffer for that. Mm. I get it, but at the end of the day, you took part in bringing this life in the world, bringing this life.
So basically, at the end of the day, we all have to man up in this situation.
Yes. Period. You chose to do this. Man up and choose to be a father. Period.
You chose to have sex.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
chose it.
Like I go to work every day. There's times I drive by a bank and you may think to yourself, man. I'll be watching Set It Off, man. We could but I don't do it. You know why? Because I don't want the ultimate risk that comes with that.
I don't want to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So I would never do nothing like that to put me in that position. As much as I may think about it, as much as I may ponder it, if you plan it, you go through it, there's a chance you can get away with it. And there's also a chance you can get locked up. Now, I can't be getting caught and say, I don't want to go to jail. No, you chose to do this. Period. Mm-hmm. If you are man enough to make a decision like that, mm-hmm. you have to be man enough to live with the consequences. Period, point blank. No excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like I said, the kid did not ask to be born. And as a man myself, like I'm not going to say no names, but I had someone once ask me if I would be interested in being a donor for them. I couldn't do that because I could not have a kid out there that shares my and I'm not being in their life. I just couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's always going to be some part of the kid that'll grow up wondering why their father didn't want them. Like, remember the episode of Fresh Prince? Oh, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that the kid may go through that the father may not even have meant to put the kid through, but the kid is going to question, why doesn't he want me? Like, am I not good enough? Because he don't know the background.
He or she don't know the background of y'all.
And I don't feel the child deserves to go through that. Because I feel like even if you have the best mother in the world, you have a lot of great single mothers. You have a lot of great single fathers. But I do feel like there's always going to be a part of the kid that's just going to wonder. And if that question is never answered for them, it's going to hurt them. And it could hurt them even more if it is answered for them. So I just feel that's why you see so many times people will be in that partnership. You may not get along with each other, but you try to do the best for the sake of the kid. Mm-hmm. Even if you're splitting custody, you see once a week. I just feel like as a man, I could not have a child in this world and just go about my life doing whatever, knowing that I have a kid out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I have a kid out there that I'm not teaching to be a man, that I'm not helping, that I'm not there for when he comes home and he's getting bullied. Or if you have a little girl. Or a little girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't just go about my life and not wonder myself. And then what happens to the point if you do feel like what you said, you wonder, and then about 15, 16 years down the line, you want to be in your kid's life. Now this kid, you got a 16, 17-year-old, and now you have that, you know what I'm saying? Like, no.
I don't know, I guess with me, like with me personally, it's like when I saw that whole scene, it made me cringe. only because I am a woman, and I just feel like if I was to have seen that expression, me personally, I tell people a lot that are close to me, like I personally just don't. I would want kids, but the situation has to be good for me. Like I need to have a husband or like, you know, a really good man. And if I get anything less than a yay when I tell you I'm pregnant, that's going to make me freaking panic. Like I can't live in resentment. I just cannot do it. Like to know, especially like looking at that scene, and I'm just thinking about Lawrence's life as the whole totality of it. Like he was finally getting a good job. He's finally about to move to Sacramento. He's back with the love of his life, and now here you come saying I'm pregnant, and it's like no matter how many years, it could be a lot of graduations, it could be a lot of whatever. But I still feel like in the back of a person's mind, because there's women out there that get trapped too, but they're in the back of a person's mind, they're always going to think about that what if you didn't do this to me. Or like what, not you didn't do this to me, but you know, what if this did not happen? Like I could have probably still been with Issa. I could have probably had a great, we don't know what the season's going to be like next, but I'm just saying, like, I just can't, me personally, I can't live with that. Like knowing that I have a baby, we know we weren't ready, we weren't even together, we weren't like, or whatever the case may be, and I'm here bringing this child into this world, into something that I feel like it could have the potential of going right, but I seen it more times than not, it go wrong. Like I have seen a lot of people try to make this work into something, and then they split up. And then now it's awkward. And now you got to deal with that awkwardness until this child is old enough till you don't got to talk to each other anymore. Like the kid can visit you, the kid can go visit you. But it's like until that kid gets to that point, you still got to interact.
But as awkward as it may be, just the fact that, again, it's just stepping up to the plate for the sake of the child, not for the sake of the relationship. Sometimes the relationship just doesn't work.
But sometimes the child often... that I have seen, once again, I'm going off my life experiences, and I have seen the child suffers sometimes with that. More, like I said, more times than not, I see the child suffering.
You think the child would rather suffer without the parent?
I feel like I know some people who have had the one parent narrative their whole life, and
I do too.
Yeah, and like when I speak to them about it, I'm sure over time, there was times they wanted their other parent, but I think at this point they're just like, especially knowing what they know now about their parent, they're pretty much like, I'm better off without them.
But here's the thing. In life, you're always going to have what ifs.
Yeah.
You're always going to have regrets. You're always going to have what if this would have went this. You're always going to have that.
Right.
No matter what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll always have that. But the point about it is, a lot of life is what you make it. A lot of life is the life you live a lot of times is a result of the decisions that you made down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when it comes to something so serious as kids, this is not a pet. This is not a rental.
And that's
this
how
is
it
a
is.
lifetime investment.
Yeah.
So when it comes to something that serious, if you are choosing to have sex with a girl, like, she looks good, and she ends up having the kid, whose fault is that to blame but your own? You had sex with her. Again, you don't have to have sex. Period.
Or
if
at least
you don't
pick
want
the right
the kid,
person to have sex with.
Yeah.
Y'all on the same wavelength.
Hence the belief that some people have of no sex before marriage. You should get to know someone, love someone, marry them, then have the kid. Then you've gotten away from that in these times where you know, things happen, whatever. But that's why, you know, like I said, people have those beliefs. You shouldn't have sex out of wedlock. You shouldn't have kids out of wedlock. You shouldn't have sex when you're not married to somebody. You know what I'm saysaying? Like a lot of people, like I said, people say, I got needs. It's pleasure. You have wants. You want it. You don't need it. You want it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I'm not saying you can't enjoy what you do, but what I'm saying is you have to be man or woman enough to live with the consequences of what you chose to do. Period. You can have all the regrets that you want, all the what ifs you want. Bottom line is, this is the result of a choice you made. Period. Don't resent the person you made that choice with.
And I guess that's what goes into it. Like, take the ownership fully.
Period.
Like, you guys, especially when I see men who like hide their girls because they don't want to admit to the world that they got somebody pregnant. It's like, bro, don't make it seem like it's a shame. This is the choice you made. Like, you had sex with her, you having a baby. Don't, like, be scared and, like, put up a pic of the shorty or whatever the case may be, or the belly or the sonogram or the kid, for that matter. I know dudes who don't even put up their kid. And it's just like, now all of a sudden, because you don't want to own up to, like, the actual product of your decision, this is still your child. But it's like, I don't know, like I said, with me, it's just like, I personally would need, like, more security. Because, like, there's no way in hell. But see, this is why, like what you said, like, don't just do things with just anybody willy-nilly. Like, even like the dudes I have in my life, we talk a lot about a lot of these things. So I know if there is an accident, I'm technically good. Like, I'm good. Like, I feel like I'm technically good. But it's just like, a lot of times people don't really talk and really look at the actions of a person. Like, we're not going to, like I said, I'm trying to stay away from insecure because Lawrence is set. This is a set business, good career man. But overall, I see people be like, I can't believe he's a bad father. How can't you believe it? What was he doing before that showed you he was going to be a good dad? Like, what was he doing before? Just like I know men who be like, oh, she's not teaching my kids. She's not teaching my kids. All right, but what made you think that she was the mother type? What made you think that? What conversation did you have with this person to make them think that she's going to really instill knowledge in your kid? Besides y'all just having sex and getting drunk and high, partying all the time. Whatever the case may be. So it's like, what you said, this is not a pet. This is a full life commitment. This is like literally a life that you're building. So if I'm going to be attached to somebody, I need to know we're on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. There needs to be a conversation before we even, like, I need to have, even one time I had a scare. I was about to take a pregnancy test. And even before I took it, I just said, hey, would you want to keep it if this thing is positive, yes or no, whatever. And he said, why don't you figure it out when we cross that bridge? I said, no, I need to know the mindset I need to get into before taking this test. Like, I just need to know my mindset. I need to know where we at. Before I even take it, because I don't want to fall in love with any decision if we are not on the same page. But it's like, I constantly have conversations. I just feel like what you're saying before, like, the element of conversation is gone too. With the readiness of, like, making sure you're married and all that stuff. Maybe we don't gotta be married, but it's like what you're saying, like, within dating, you have certain...
Because the element of a lot of the relationship is gone. The reason why someone is having sex with someone else is not what it's meant to be. Sometimes when you get into, like, entanglements with certain things can happen from that results in these type of things. You know what I'm saying? All because you just wanted to feel something. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to feel good. No, I'm just making some statements. You know what I'm saying? So,
I want to feel good.
Yeah, you know, it's been so long since you felt good. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that's the case. Sometimes the reason why you're having it is just purely for the pleasure of it, just for in the moment. And because you wanted that moment of pleasure, you may have a lifetime of responsibility now.
18 years, and on the 18th birthday found out it wasn't his.
And that's a whole different story. But that's all I'm saying is you just have to be responsible and have to own up to the results of your choices.
And regardless of the resentment, like, no one is time to just dish it.
You can have resentment, you can have whatever you want. A lot of times we resent the wrong things in life. A lot of times we resent, if you're trying to go to the gym to lose weight, gain muscle, and you choose to sign up and you don't go, do you resent the gym? No. It's what you're doing at the gym. You have to put the work in. It's what you do. It's the decisions you make. It's what you choose to put in your body. It's what you choose to do on a daily basis that affects how that's going to change. And that's a lot of things in life. If I drive and I'm not wearing my seatbelt and I get in an accident, do I blame? No. You know what I'm saying? Because I chose not to wear the seatbelt. I'm guilty of that. I don't always wear my seatbelt even though I should. You know what I'm saying? So I have to accept the responsibility if something were to happen and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That is just all I'm saying. A lot of times we resent the wrong things. A lot of times we blame the wrong things when you have to look inward and look at the choices you made in life. And you are now in these situations because of your choices, because of what you chose to do in one moment that affected your whole life. It's still your choice. You chose it. Now man up or woman up and step up to the plate and accept the responsibility that came from your choice.
So basically, so what? You didn't get the white picket fence. Shit happens. It's time for you to figure out your life through this shit.
No, I said these are the cards that you were dealt.
Pretty much.
These are the cards that you were dealt, and sometimes, like, as much as we like to say, we're gonna hope and pray for this to happen and happen. Listen, not everybody gets the best life.
And also,
period.
Like what you said, a lot of your problems don't go away. Because even if you want to become the ain't shit dad or the ain't shit mom, you still got a little one out there who probably is gonna resent the hell out of you, or maybe look for you, find you. Either way, this is a constant reminder that you were in crap. Like somebody's out there walking around with your DNA, your half a DNA that you don't know. So even if you want to be a deadbeat, even if you want to choose to go, or whatever the case may be, that's going to play in your mind unless you're just a heartless asshole. Like, that's the constant reminder. That's the consequence in itself, especially if this person becomes a star one day and just be like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it's like I said, this is a tricky conversation, but it's something I had to touch on because I've seen it all up and through my timeline. I don't know if you saw it on yours,
Nope.
but I saw all up and through my timeline about after Insecure blew up. So let us know what you think about our conversation. Were we on track, or are you kind of mad at what we said? If so, leave it in the comment section. Until next time, remember, like, subscribe, share. Peace.